So today I'm joined by Lisa from Macomics, and rather than us telling you what MyAmici can do, we thought it would be a much more valuable use of people's time to hear from someone who uses it every day. So we're going to hear a little bit about Lisa's journey, what life looked like before MyAmici, what's changed, and the differences that some of our specialist modules have made to a growing business like Macomics. So Lisa, brilliant to have you. Welcome. Could you just kick off by introducing yourself and giving everyone a quick snapshot of Macomics?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Ali. So, hello, my name is Lisa Seymour, and I'm the head of operations at Macomics Limited. Macomics is an SME biotech R&D company, and with lab premises split across Edinburgh and Cambridge. We have approximately 20 members of staff between the sites, and predominantly they are lab-based staff as well.
Fantastic, thank you. Um, so now your situation is a little different to some of our other customers in that when you joined Macomics, MyAmici was already up and running. So you sort of came into it fresh with no prior experience of using a platform like MyAmici. What were your first impressions of using the platform?
Yes, when I started at Macomics, I'd never even heard of MyAmici before. Um, We previously in other companies, our procurement was very much online shopping at certain retailers that the company had recommended. It certainly wasn't in one system. So I'd never used a procurement system like it. And my initial thoughts when starting, I was really impressed by the way it sort of streamlined our processes. It was very easy to use. I had needed minimal training on my onboarding. It makes things more visible and it helped internally with things like budgets and forecasts, which obviously is very important to our senior leadership team to have that ability as well. When I first started at McComics, we were using MyAmici just for our procurement needs. That was a really, like I said, it was a really helpful part of managing our processes. Each year, MyAmici team provided us with a slide deck showing us the savings that they had achieved for us. They gave us a clear view of the value being delivered, and it helped demonstrate also the impact of using the platform beyond just the day-to-day ordering. So I felt like the system for an operational side of things, and because we were split site as well, it gave me a better oversight of the spend, and it saved time for me for both as part of the operations team and also the scientists placing the orders as well. When I spoke to the Amici team, when they went through with us what our spends were and our savings were, we could tell at that point the areas where maybe we could be doing better, whether that would be in consumable spend or whether that could be in lab equipment spend. They gave us some really good ideas on how we could manage that, whether that was consolidating orders or whether that was using particular suppliers that are on the system. It was just extremely helpful, and it was such a good idea having obviously we had the cost of the system itself, and we also had next to it, it showed us how much that system had saved us. So you could see straight away the benefits of the platform.
And you kind of mentioned the people behind the scenes a little bit there, and that's always something that we pride ourselves on at MyAmici is the fact that we're more than just a service. We like to be colleagues with our customers in a way, and that additional procurement arm. What's your experience of the kind of customer support behind the scenes that you receive from MyAmici, and how does that help also support your day-to-day operations?
So the customer service at MyAmici is honestly the best that I've come across. It's been a wonderful team to work with. You could tell when you're dealing with them that they're passionate in their role to help customers make savings. Any problems that we've had when it comes with suppliers, we've only had to send an email to our contact manager or the procurement team service desk, and responses were very quick and super helpful. And they're just a really friendly bunch of people to talk to as well. It's been, yeah, absolutely lovely dealing with you guys. It's been very informal, and you can tell there's a definite trust there between us and the MyAmici team.
That's really great to hear, and it's great to get that feedback from our customers. And do you feel that having that team behind the scenes as well saves you time from, a sourcing point of view or support with equipment, that kind of thing? It's not just having that the someone there if you need something. It's also the kind of the roles that I guess the team plays in the background.
Yeah, so there's multiple roles in obviously in the MyAmici team, depending on what either issues or what advice that we need at the time. So if we're looking to source a piece of equipment, say, we would contact the team who are very knowledgeable in our industry as well, so they can even give us advice on what we could be looking for. And if we're having issues with with suppliers or deliveries not getting delivered or lead times, etc., there is obviously a team there as well that is very quick to resolve those issues.
Fantastic, brilliant. So now I just want to talk a little bit more about more specific modules or apps
Mhm.
that we have at MyAmici as part of our Lab Ops platform. Um, so you've also adopted recently our HSE module, I believe. So before that was in place, how were you handling sort of the procurement, health and safety side of things, and what's been the biggest change since you adopted this new module?
So when I started at Macomics, I was actually the health and safety manager there. We're obviously as a laboratory-based company, we had a lot of chemicals, reagents, etc., that needed to be managed properly. We also had a lot of members of staff independently ordering through the system. Again, with the two sites, it was very difficult to keep on top of the hazardous chemicals that were coming in and making sure that we had the updated documents there ready for when they actually were delivered. So yes, in the last 12 months, we've been using the HSE add-on module. So to support the health and safety side of our procurement, for me, it's been extremely useful in just helping us meet those health and safety obligations. One of the main benefits has been the way it supports the COSHH management. So every time someone in the company places an order for a hazardous chemical through the Amici system, additional approval is required from someone in the company with the relevant health and safety experience. So this means that we can review the order before the chemical is received and check whether any COSHH forms or risk assessments or control measures need to be updated at that point. So it's made the process much more efficient. It's helped us move away from sort of more a reactive approach where the chemicals might arrive before the relevant health and safety review has taken place. And instead, it just gives us a better oversight, earlier intervention, and more confidence in that the hazardous substances are being managed properly across both the sites.
That's great, and that's exactly what it was, designed for, really, is to give you that extra level of control when you don't have that kind of full visibility necessarily on what everybody's ordering in your organization, especially as you grow. So I'm really pleased to hear that you're seeing the real time effect of that, the benefits that that module brings, because compliance can feel a bit like a real overhead for a small team. So I guess that's taken a lot of pressure off you to know that that's almost being handled in a more automated fashion.
Definitely.
Great. And in addition to the HSE module, you have also recently implemented our asset module. What were you sort of doing before you brought that on board? What was the trigger, I suppose, for wanting to look for a better solution than what you were using prior to MyAmici?
Yes, I think when the company started up, it was a very small team. We didn't have so many assets, and we only had one site initially as well, so it was a lot easier to manage. As the company has grown, it's become more difficult managing the assets and service agreements as well that come with those assets. So we didn't have a central place that could remind us of equipment service contract renewals, nor the time also it's a very busy environment and to source better and possibly cheaper alternatives as well. So we made a decision quite recently actually to start using the asset module provided by MyAmici, and it was quite quickly apparent that it was a massive hit. Initially, I have to say we were a bit unsure because we're still quite a small company. And we did not know whether with the benefits would outweigh the cost of the module itself. But it's been very well received. It's saved me personally in operations so much time as I was managing service suppliers, making sure that assets were that we have on the bench are actually the assets that we have on our spreadsheets, and linking those assets to service suppliers as well, which can be difficult if you have multiple people within the company making purchases. So as well as time, it was apparent very early on that the asset module was saving us money. MyAmici has always been upfront with us about the costs and savings that we make using their system. Every year, MyAmici provides us with a presentation showing all the statistics so we can actually see in real time where we've been making those savings. So the asset module itself has resulted in MyAmici sourcing service contracts and procuring lab equipment for us at prices that we would have been unable to negotiate independently with the suppliers. As those of us who work in the biotech industry, service contracts for some of the more technical equipment in the labs can be extremely highly priced. So the module has reduced my admin time quite significantly, where it's probably made the biggest impact is with the scientists. So instead of using their time meeting with suppliers, negotiating prices for consumables, they can now spend that time on the science.
Fantastic. And that's one of the things we want to make sure that we give back is the time. That's really important to us, that we give back that time to science, back to the scientists to do what they need to be doing, and to the operations team to
Yes.
also get on with things that, as the multiple things in operations you need to be doing, that you can have more time to focus on those other areas of the business. Last question for you. It's a big one, I suppose. If you were talking to another business like Macomics, who are sitting on the fence a little bit. They're not sure whether the investment is worth it to onboard a platform service like MyAmici. What would you say to them? What advice would you give them?
I would say, I mean, I'm sure they're very aware, working within a small biotech environment, especially, it's extremely busy environment, and you're wearing many different hats. So your time is very limited. Anything you can do to streamline processes and to save up your time for other things is always going to be a positive. I would say, from my experience with MyAmici, that there has been no negatives since we've been using the system. We can see every year that the savings we are making with purchasing our consumables, equipment, and service contracts through them. So, in my opinion, the benefits massively outweigh the costs. So, we would definitely recommend MyAmici for other companies out there, big or small, especially in the R&D and life sciences space.